Everybody, it's John, your Indian Cine-MANIAC, back with another 10ish-Minute review on John Talks Indian Cinema. So today I'm going to review a movie that was not recommended to me, but it showed up in my queue as a recent release, and it starred an actor that I am a big fan of. So I decided to take a look at 2024's Sector 36. It's inspired by a true story, the Nithari case, which I never heard of. So, of course, I had to do some research on it. It was in 2005. It was actually in Sector 31, which I don't really understand why they would change the name of it. Because, I mean, based on the research I did, it follows it along pretty well. It was directed by Aditya Nimbakar. It stars Vikrant Massey, he's the reason why I watched this film. 12th Fail, A Death in Gunj, Mirzapur, amongst others. Really like him as an actor. Although I have to say, this was unlike anything I've seen him in. I think it's his first negative role, too. Deepak Dobriyal, who I've seen in Bhola. Baharul Islam, who's in 83, and Darshan Jariwala, who was in Kahaani. Excellent cast. Again, inspired by a true story. And the original case was about two guys, Surendra Kohli and Moninder Singh Pandur. And the basic premise, and I mean, listen, this is based on a true story, so yeah, there's going to be spoilers. But I'm sure if you live in India, you guys know about this. But it's just I never heard of this. I knew nothing about it. Um, and it's kind of hard to believe that I didn't. You would have thought Hollywood would have done something with this story because it's so, I don't know. But it's a story about a guy or an organization that was kidnapping kids, killing them, harvesting their organs, um, taking part in cannibalism. I mean, this one hits all the notes. And how eventually they got caught. So let's talk about the story. So that's basically the premise of the story. Now they did change. Look, the story is about everything I just described to you, but it's also about police corruption, which is running rampant throughout this film. It's about the difference in the caste system, where if you have money, you're treated one way. If you don't, you're an afterthought. And that's basically all these kids being kidnapped. And this was happening over a time period. And we're not talking two or three. We're talking, I think, over 20. And no, I mean, the parents are obviously cared. The village or whatever you call it, that area, it's a slum. They all cared, but the police didn't care. Politicians didn't care. Because in that area, in fact, the serial killer at one point says, hey, their life's going to be lousy anyway. I was doing them a favor. So it was, and I do also have to say that I felt, now I only know this now after doing research about the real event. And by the way, I'm going to post a video from the Desi Crime podcast, which did about a 24-minute episode of the actual event that I watched after I watched the film, because I was really curious about how this went down. But I'm going to post it. It's excellent. So take a look at it and, give them a little props after you watch it. So that's the story. Now that obviously they took some creative license with the story, especially with the lead cop, Ram Charan Pandey, whose real name was Vinod Pandey. And I don't know, based on the end of this film, something happens to him. I don't know if that really happened. I don't think it did. But anyway, this movie opens with Vikrant Massey, who was creepy as hell. He was creepy, but he's talking on the phone with somebody very casual, talking about, he's got to do chores. Now he opens up a bathroom and there's a young girl on the floor unconscious, and now he starts chopping it up. That's how this thing opens. And then the blood goes down the drain, right? So now you're seeing all these scenes with kids getting caught, and they're kind of almost doing a montage. Um, and there's a show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, plays an important role in this movie because his character Prem is a big fan, almost obsessively, because he's like, they're so stupid. Why don't they? I answer all these questions. Why don't they get me on this show? And they're like, you can. You're a nobody. But it plays in later on too. So they introduced the cop, Ram Charan Pandey, who is corrupt. They're all taking bribes. And he is also, when people start reporting missing daughters, he's dismissive of it for all the reasons I said at the beginning, until someone tries to take his daughter, which he prevents. But now he's going to take a much more serious look at this, which the cops don't want him to, because involved in this is his name is Basi, but his real name was Moninder Singh Pandey, who's a very wealthy businessman who had this mansion in this slum, and he's involved in this somehow. They don't know how, but he's somehow. Um, and they flash back to Prem getting abused by his uncle sexually, and he works in a not a deli, but like a butcher shop, and he ends up hacking up his uncle, and that's the start of this, and his cannibalism too. By the way, he cooks it up and eats it. Now, so I loved the first half of this movie. It was creepy. It was tense. He was fantastically creepy, like Hannibal Lecter almost. Very calm, never manic, never wild-eyed. It's the second half that when they don't arrest him, they question him. And basically he just spills everything. He tells them everything. Now, the way they did it, however, which was clever, I thought, because the Millionaire game show was such an important to him. When he was being interrogated, he was doing it like a game show. He would only let them ask one question at a time. And they were sitting across from each other, just like on the show. So I thought that was clever. But what I didn't understand, why was he admitting to everything? Was it a pride thing? Was he wanted people to know? Now, again, I don't know if that's what really happened, because what the show that I watched on that Desi Does Crime, they said they were after him for a while till he finally broke down. Well, in this film, there's no breaking down. He sits down, he tells him everything, and then he thinks, I'm going to go home and watch the show. So I didn't really understand that. And I found that a little not credible. And there was a twist at the end, which I'll get to. But so that then he confesses, and he says the wealthy guy's involved, but the wealthy guy has got some cops in his back pocket, and every time the cops cooperate, they get a promotion. So that's also a thread through this. But overall, because it's a true story, I'm going to give the story a 4, because it was like it was just creepy, and the fact that this went on and the cops really did nothing about it. Well, then ultimately, I know that Surendra got the death penalty, but Monhinder, that was reversed because there wasn't enough evidence against the guy. Now, the movie doesn't play that way. There seems to be enough evidence on the guy in this video too. So I give the story a 4. The performances, I'm going to give the performances, I'm going to give them a 4 also. Vikram, I've never seen him like this. I thought he was, I mean, it was like, I thought he was a lot creepier the first half. The whole interrogation scene is very matter of fact. In fact, he helps them dig up some of the bodies, and he's helping them. He goes, no, they're not digging. They're not far enough forward. I'll show you where it is. Because I guess he's proud of his handiwork, I guess. But the guy who played the cop, Deepak, I liked him too. And his, because he's not a real likable character in the first half till his daughter got threatened. Now he just wants to solve this, and he's getting all the pushback from the higher ups in the police. the head guy. In fact, he gets suspended even after they find all the bodies. He gets suspended again. So the performances are a solid 4. The music, I got to tell you, this was one of the films, and I've been talking about this a lot with the music. No musical numbers. Well, there was one. There was only one musical number, and it was at a strange point. It's about 3/4 of the movie's done, and it says they're digging up the bodies, and the crowds are watching. And there was an actual song playing with lyrics. But that was the only one. The rest of the incidental music, I again, it was like this driving drum beat throughout the film, and all it did was increase the tension. So I thought the incidental music was great, and I'm going to give that a 4. So overall, the verdict on this film, even though I had issues with the conclusion, which I'll get to in a second, and the fact that he confesses to everything so quickly, this movie still had me, and I wanted to know how they were going to capture him, what was going to be the end result. So I'm going to give overall a 4. Effectively creepy, sick, and you feel for the people whose kids were all taken. Nobody's helping them. So you get that whole dynamic. You're pissed off at the cops who are so corrupt. Now, a few things I want to call out that I didn't quite understand. The ending, first of all, the ending was shocking to me. So he's suspended, but he talks to Prem again because he wants to nail the rich guy because he knows the rich guy's involved. Well, Prem told him he sent videos to his wife in some place. I don't know where it was, but it was far away. So he goes. He gets the video, he watches it, and you don't see it, but you hear grunting and groaning. So you kind of figure what's on there. Now he's walking down the highway trying to find a ride home. No one's picking him up. So he gets picked up by 3 guys we already know are bad guys because we've seen them kill people. They stick him in the front seat. They said, we're looking for an address. He goes, well, maybe I can help you. What's the address? He pulls this thing out. It's a picture of him. Now he realizes what's happening. Now they just stab the crap out of him. I mean, it was horrific. And then they slice his neck. And so he's dead. Now he's on the missing board with all the kids. And then the very end of the movie, one of the, what I would call the honest police officers, gets a package with a disc. It was green. What was it? It was green something, not green peace, green tree. What was the name? Evergreen. Evergreen Hits. That was how he labeled the video. This one showed up, and it says more Evergreen Hits. Okay, so the implication is this honest cop has video of the rich guy. Now, none of that, I'm sure, happened. I'm sure the cop wasn't killed. I'm sure that didn't happen. But another thing that annoyed me a little bit, obviously somebody was ratting Pandy out. And there's one guy, I wrote down his name. Where is it? Where did I? Oh, son of a nutcracker. Oh, yeah. Sharvan Kumar, who's supposed to be his friend. They had some compounder who was working with Prem. They had him tied up and they were interrogating him. That's how they found out about Prem. When they go back to find him, he's gone. And Sharvan comes back and he was getting food, right? So I found that suspicious. Well, then he borrows his laptop to go to Prem's wife's house to get the video. And he tells Sharvan this. And Sharvan says, be careful. And all of a sudden, these guys show up and kill him. So, and Sharvan, by the way, at the end of the movie, gets a promotion. But they never identify that he ratted him out, that he betrayed him. And I found that a little bit annoying. They should have ratted him out because they imply it, but they never outwardly say it. So I thought that was, that something I really didn't like. But I will say that I think the interrogation scene is probably the best scene in the film because for 2 reasons. And I also, in that Desi Does Crime thing, they said some of the dialogue was taken directly from the actual guy. But he's describing how he strangles this prostitute. Very matter of fact, very casual. But as he's talking, what Deepak does without any dialogue, the look on his face as he's confessing to all these murders, that he's eating it, that they're organ harvesting, the reason why, the look on his face, it's like, it's disbelief of the acts that he was doing, right? The crimes, but also disbelief on how free with the information he's being, like utter disbelief that he's just spilling this stuff out, and also expecting to go home after the interrogation. The look on his face is fantastic acting without uttering a word. Because normally in these Indian films, when they got somebody like this, what do they usually do? They usually beat the hell out of him, right? Slap him around, hit his feet with canes and stuff like that. It wasn't like that at all. Because Prem was just being so open with the information. And the cop was like, including his boss, they're just like, and the way it was shot too, there was a blinking fluorescent light and it kind of had a green hue to it. I think that's the best scene in the movie, and the best performances of the actors too. But again, as I did research and looked up the real people, first of all, the rich guy looked just like the actual guy. I don't think Vikrant looked so much like the real serial killer. Enough, I suppose. But yeah, this was shoosh. And it was, like I said, that ending was pretty shocking. I was not expecting that. I figured, he's the hero in the Indian film. He's going to figure this out. He's going to take care of these guys. It was brutal. And the guy didn't have a chance. And again, the whole point was to show that bulletin board with all the missing kids. And there's the picture of the cop missing. And that no one will ever figure it out. No one cares. Now they show a headline where those 3 guys who did the murders got caught. They don't explain how. They don't explain who did it. But you also know that everyone that covered it up all got promoted. Corruption of the police, So that was it. So that's what I think about that film. I really enjoyed it. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. Let me know if you have seen it, let me know what you think about it in the comment section. And as always, I'm getting a lot of recommendations, so I'm trying to watch as many as I can. Keep them coming. I love it. And so far, there hasn't been a stinker in the bunch. Okay. And, I think it was Maharaja. I wasn't too sure about it at the beginning, but then, man, love that. Couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm telling you. And someone asked me, the bad guy in that film, they asked me, I've seen him in a couple of films because you don't know who that guy is. And I go, well, yeah, I've seen some films with him, but he must be looking for something specific because I don't know where you're going with that. So let me know what that guy was in that I didn't recognize. Okay. But that's all I have for now. Oh, again, please, we hit our 50th subscriber. So, it's been a short period of time, so I'm happy with that. It's not the 2,800 that we had it in the channel, but I know this is going to be a slow process. So for those of you who continue to watch and continue to comment, I really appreciate it. Keep it going. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification button, and please share it. The more people I get hopping on board this channel, the better it's going to be. Okay. I'm going to put more content on there. We'll keep it coming. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we're going to talk to you soon with another 10ish minute review on John Talks. What does he talk? Indian cinema. Thanks for watching.
Zooby dooby pampara, zooby dooby parampam. Zooby dooby nache kyun pagal stupid man.
Zooby dooby pampara, zooby dooby parampam.